The world as we know it is about to be shaken by events that will forever mark the course of history. A French nun from the last century, endowed with extraordinary gifts, saw with crystal clarity what awaits us. Her visions, already confirmed by the tragic fulfillment of her prophecies about the Second World War, today resonate like a cry of alarm for our generation. Mother Yvonne Aimée of Malestroit was not only a mystic with supernatural abilities, but a prophetess who peered into the future with astounding precision. What she foresaw for our days should make us tremble. She prophesied with precision the Second World War, but also the third that awaits us. Yet, she also left us a most powerful weapon to face the storm that approaches. If these topics are close to your heart, help us spread them. A like can do so much, as well as your subscription to the channel. Thank you from the heart. When the saints and mystics through the centuries have received revelations about the final times, the Lord has not left them in uncertainty, but has given them precise signs and means of salvation. As Saint John in the Apocalypse received terrifying visions accompanied by promises of final victory, so Mother Yvonne not only saw the future trials, but also received the key to overcome them. Mother Yvonne Aimée was born in 1901 in a deeply Christian family from the Loire region. Her path to sainthood began very early when her grandmother read to her the story of a soul by Saint Therese of Lisieux, indelibly marking her young heart. At only 9 years old, in a gesture that reveals the depth of her consecration, she wrote a letter to Jesus with her own blood, deciding to dedicate her entire life to him. This act, which might seem extreme, was actually the seal of a soul already completely in love with the divine. Her vocation manifested itself through visions of the child Jesus, so luminous and real, that young Yvonne, gifted with artistic talent, felt the irresistible need to reproduce them. It was the divine child himself who encouraged her, saying, "Try, I send you my holy angels." From that celestial encounter sprang an artistic masterpiece of perfect beauty, with hands represented in a position anatomically correct and of a grace supernatural. In 1922, at 21 years old, an illness led her to the Augustinian Sisters of Mercy at Malestroit, a small town in Brittany. Here began the most extraordinary chapter of her existence. On July 5th of that year, in her room, she had an experience that would forever mark her spiritual destiny. Jesus appeared to her, showing her a cross, and asking her simply, "Do you want to carry it?" Yvonne's response was immediate and without hesitation. Yes. From that moment began for her a calvary of physical and spiritual sufferings that would temper her soul like gold in the crucible. Mother Yvonne possessed the gift of bilocation, xenoglossia, stigmata, and above all prophetic visions. Witnesses recount incredible episodes like that of September 16, 1941, when around 4 in the afternoon, she had visions of Eucharistic profanations. With a firm voice, she said to her guardian angel, "Go fetch me that host, my love reclaims it." Immediately those present saw a great line of light pass over them, which settled on a pine branch, where they found a host that was bleeding at the center. When Father Paul Labut took that host to place it at the feet of the statue of the Virgin Mary, 2 torches lit miraculously at the entrance of the enclosure. This miracle teaches us how powerful the intercession of angels is. Let us write together in the comments, "My angel, help me." Amen. But the true proof of her prophetic charism came with the visions of war. In 1922, 17 years before the outbreak of the Second World War, she had a terrifying vision. A great darkness covered the earth, while spirals of smoke rose toward the sky. An interior voice communicated to her, "These are trials that will come. They will be absolutely incredible, but rejoice, because you know that the Lord will come to help you." Then she saw soldiers arriving, who went up and down from trucks, dressed in green uniforms that did not yet exist in European armies. She saw planes drop large cylinders on cities, causing devastating fires. And in the midst of these apocalyptic visions, the number 39 appeared clearly. When the Second World War broke out, everything took on a frighteningly precise meaning. The events followed exactly as she had foreseen, including the vision of a high general who decorated her, a prophecy that came true when General de Gaulle conferred upon her the Legion of Honor in July 1945. During the German occupation, Mother Yvonne became a true heroine of the resistance. With the complicity of the other sisters, and thanks to ingenious stratagems, she managed to hide hundreds of soldiers, Jews, partisans, and even the famous General Audebert, head of the secret army of resistance. Sometimes, she disguised paratroopers as nuns to snatch them from the Gestapo. On February 15, 1943, she was arrested in Paris by the Gestapo and locked in the Church Midi prison, but what happened next defies any rational explanation. While her physical body was in the hands of the Germans, Father Paul Labut met her in the metro, dressed in civilian clothes, who told him about the tortures suffered, asking him to pray. The priest understood that he was facing a phenomenon of bilocation. That evening, around 21:10, he heard a thud in Mother Yvonne's room, as if someone had jumped from a great height, landing with feet together. Entering, he found her dressed in civilian clothes, confused and frightened. To his question about how it was possible that she had entered with doors closed, she replied, "It was my angel who freed me and brought me back here. He grabbed me in the prison courtyard while we were gathering to go to Germany." The floor of the room was covered with fresh flowers, such a quantity that would have required at least 2 gardeners to transport them. The spiritual life of Mother Yvonne was also marked by a terrible combat against the forces of evil. The demon persecuted her through 7 distinct phases of temptations. It began with frightening appearances and physical beatings. It continued with psychic assaults that brought her to the brink of despair. It tried to make her fall from the balcony and from the roof. It pushed her towards suicidal thoughts. And finally, it tried to make her doubt the very authenticity of her mystical experiences through trusted people who suddenly turned against her. However, Yvonne never yielded, demonstrating extraordinary strength of spirit that confirmed the divine origin of her charisms. But Mother Yvonne's most disturbing visions concerned the future that awaits us. When Father Cotard asked her if France would triumph over communism, her response was chilling. "Certainly, but first it will have to face a very hard trial, the Great Tribulation, the revolution in France, then the Third World War, and the Russian invasion, with its Islamist allies." The nun explained that the Russian occupation would be worse than the German one in terms of atrocities. Even if fortunately, it would last less than a year. Those who think that the Russians will come to liberate us from the deeply anti-Christian Western leaders are bitterly mistaken. According to her visions, it will be an unprecedented slaughter. She also saw men dressed in strange costumes and large medals, manipulated by demons, whom Monsignor René Laurentin identified as Freemasons. However, alongside these terrifying visions, Mother Yvonne also received the promise of final victory. She prophesied the reign of Christ, through a great monarch, who will arrive at the head of a small invincible Christian army. A promise, also confirmed by other mystics like Marie-Julie Jahenny. But above all, on August 17, 1922, the Lord dictated to her an invocation, to be recited morning and evening. O Jesus, King of love, I trust in your merciful goodness. This simple but most powerful prayer spread throughout the world. Mother Yvonne affirmed. This invocation brings much peace, comfort, light, not only to the sick and dying, but to all. It can also obtain miracles. In 1951, Mother Yvonne Aimée died of cerebral hemorrhage at the age of 49, just when she was about to leave for a mission in South Africa. 6 years later, when her coffin was opened, the body was found intact, surrounded by 5 centimeters of crystalline water. Her death, and the odor of sanctity, had confirmed the extraordinariness of her life. Today, as we see multiplying the signs that herald the times prophesied by Mother Yvonne, her message resonates with particular urgency. The Russian invasion that she saw, terrible but brief, approaches, according to her prophecies. But she left us the most powerful weapon. Devotion to Jesus, King of love, through daily invocation, and the consecration of our families to the King of love, we can find protection and peace even in the most violent storms. The complete formula of consecration is this. Jesus, King of love, you who have manifested to Mother Yvonne and to Saint Margaret Mary the desire to reign over Christian families, we today proclaim your most absolute royalty over ours. We want to live henceforth of your life. We want to make flourish in our family the virtues to which you have promised the reward, already here below. We want to drive far from us the worldly spirit that you have cursed. You will reign over our intelligences, through the simplicity of our faith. You will reign over our hearts, through the unreserved love with which they will burn for you, and which we will maintain the flame with the frequent reception of your divine Eucharist. Deign, O divine heart, to preside over our meetings, bless our spiritual and temporal enterprises. Remove our worries, sanctify our joys, relieve our sorrows. If ever one or the other among us will have the misfortune to offend you gravely, remind him, O heart of Jesus, that you are the merciful man, for the penitent sinner. And when the hour of separation sounds, when death will cast mourning in our midst, we will all be, those who leave and those who remain, submitted to your divine will. We will console ourselves with the thought that a day will come when the whole family, reunited with you in heaven, will be able to sing forever your glories and your benefits. The Immaculate Heart of Mary, the glorious Patriarch Saint Joseph, have the goodness to present to you this consecration, and remind us of it all the days of our life. Long live the heart of Jesus, our King and our Father. So be it.